Are you struggling to balance a busy schedule and prioritize your well being, your fitness, your mental health? Then this video is just for you. I'm a mindset coach and therapist based in Dallas, Texas, and I am going to share my own personal experience with how I prioritize my own fitness and mental health, but also how I've helped my clients prioritize this and the strategies that we often talk about. I'm going to share some of those tools, and I want to start by just sharing a little bit about why it's important for me to prioritize this daily. I used to be someone that just didn't really enjoy working out, didn't enjoy making this a priority. I always thought about exercise as a punishment, something that I have to do. And I always preached to my clients that exercise was what they needed to be doing, what would help them with their mental health. But I wasn't walking the walk. I didn't like that. I didn't like to not walk the walk. I personally get inspired by people when they say that they're going to do something or they're telling someone to do something, that they're speaking because they themselves are also doing this. They themselves are also practicing what they preach. And I really wanted to embody that. I wanted to be someone who practiced what I preached. I also, along the way, realized that it is imperative for me to focus on this. I would always focus on the mental health side of things, but very rarely focus on the physical health side of things, the fitness part, the nutrition part, because I thought, well, if I'm just focusing on this, but they're so connected to each other that you have to work on both. We're not have to, but it's preferred to work on both in order to see the maximum results in prioritizing your overall well-being. And your overall well-being is holistic. It's not just one thing. It's just not just mental health. Mental health and physical health are so connected. And so, like I said, when I started working out or thinking about working out, my background is in school. I used to do dancing, I used to do cheerleading, and that was easier to do because I realized that I love dancing, I loved competition, and I just love to do things with a group. What I'm trying to say is that it wasn't the exercise that I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want to do this. It's what came from it. It came the confidence. It gave me, friendships, connections with other people who enjoyed doing the exact same things that I enjoyed doing. And I hadn't realized and put that connection until now when I had restarted to work out, prioritize exercising. For a long time I just kept failing. I would go to like these HIIT workout classes and just hated it because it was just like jumping and I didn't like it. And I was just like, wow, is this what working out feels like? Is this what it should feel like? And if that's the case, it's not going to be something I'm prioritizing because it's not fun for me. And that was the key, learning that exercise and movement has to be something enjoyable for you. It doesn't mean it has to be these specific things that other people tell you. Oh, you have to do cardio, you have to do weight training, you have to do this. Movement is movement, and any movement counts. I was reading this book that really changed my mindset. It's called No Sweat, and I highly recommend for you to read it. But No Sweat really focuses on the mindset shift of not thinking all or nothing. So a lot of us may think in this mentality of, well, if I don't work out for more than 45 minutes, it doesn't count. Or if I don't sweat, then it doesn't count. Then why bother, right? So then that keeps us from not showing up into our workout, from not actually creating movement, and it keeps us in that cycle of all or nothing. When life throws us a situation where maybe we can't go to the gym, right? Maybe we tend to go to the gym and life throws us a situation and then we're like, well, we can't go to the gym, so I can't do my workout. That mindset also, again, deters you from actually getting movement in. So I love using the word movement instead of a workout because it also helps me in my brain signal you're not, a workout doesn't have to be punishment. A workout doesn't have to be something super stressful. You just have to move your body. You just have to allow yourself to do what your body tells you can do. And sometimes my mind will give up before my body does. And so to keep that in mind too, your mind will give up first before your body. Your body will be able to push, but it's important that we listen to what our mind is saying too. And so I think that that's what helped me, is not really thinking in all or nothing mentality. I used to be someone, well, if I don't get my morning workout, then I'm done, or man, I ate shitty during lunch, so that's it, the day is gone, might as well eat shitty all the rest of the day. Even though that I could basically turn things around and say, hey, maybe my body wanted McDonald's during lunch and that's totally okay, but I can change it, and I can choose a different meal. So that is what really helped me. And another thing is shifting the I should. If you catch yourself saying things like, I should be doing this, or I should be doing that, you're only nobody wants to do something that someone else is telling them what to do, right? So like the I should, it's like, it comes from like, okay, somebody told me that this was something that I should be doing, and so that's why I'm doing it. And naturally as humans, we're going to want to rebel. So one of the things that I tell my clients is, instead of saying I should, shift that phrase to I prefer. If you're constantly telling yourself, oh my gosh, you should have done this, you should have not eaten that donut, like, you're punishing yourself. You're telling yourself what to do, and you're going to tend to rebel. Fitness shouldn't be limiting. Health shouldn't be limiting. Mental health shouldn't be limiting. It should be what works for you. And I think that's part two, is you have to truly go into this journey with a open mind and flexibility to learn and to adjust. And that's kind of what happened. Like, again, when I first started doing this, and this was because I was in and out of like trying to do workouts consistently, and I would work out maybe for like a couple of months, and then it would just go, like, I would just stop. And so what made me break that cycle was that I started focusing on smaller habits, and not try to fix everything all at once. The first habit for me was just getting myself into a workout, whether that looked like going to a workout class, and quickly realizing that workout classes, I would find so much resistance to it. I would be like, oh no, I have to drive. Oh no, I have to change. Oh no, I'm so self-conscious that other people are looking at me. So knowing all of that, knowing all those thoughts that came from going to a workout class, I decided, how can I reduce that resistance? How can I reduce those negative thoughts? Well, I have the option to work out at home. What if I try at-home workouts? Now, I know that I like instruction. Like, that's always been something that I like. I currently am still working through a program, and I like doing small programs. So I do like a 4-week program or a 12-week program. I don't like anything that's longer than that, because if I change my mind, or like my body decides that it wants to do something different for a season, I want to allow myself to do that. So I found out that at-home workouts were what was going to give me the least amount of resistance to show up. I decided to just do 2 workouts a week, and then I added a 3rd workout, and then I added a 4th workout. I modified programs. I use Beachbody, and I know sometimes they have a bad rep, but I personally do like their programs, their workouts, except sometimes I thought it would be too excessive. Like, they would want you to work out like 6 days out of the 7 days a week, and I was like, who has the time for that? I don't. And for me, I would be super happy if I could just do 3 to 4 workouts a week. And so I ended up modifying it myself, and just looking at like, okay, what are some things that I don't necessarily need or enjoy? And that's how I navigated that. So I ended up picking workouts that were only 4 days a week, or programs that were only 4 days a week, or that I could modify them for 4 days a week. And that helped significantly. And like I said, the first attempt was just creating a routine to show up. It wasn't, oh my gosh, do it to its full. Sometimes I would have a workout that was 30 minutes long, and I could only do 15 minutes, and that was totally okay, because I showed up and I didn't beat myself up for it. Because somebody asked me, what happens when you don't accomplish what you set yourself up to do? And I think for me, the biggest thing that helped was providing myself self-compassion, being kind to myself, because beating myself up, criticizing myself wasn't motivating. Or if it was, it would only last for a few weeks. It wouldn't really motivate me. So what I do is I give myself self-compassion and I focus on week to week. I do not focus on the long-term goal. I focus week to week. I focus day to day. So with that is like, I will set for my habits. So most habit trackers have like a monthly spread to like track all of your habits, and then you can see like your whole month. But I use the weekly reset planner, and it has a little section where you get to choose. Let me show you. It has a section where you get to choose you only have to choose 4 habits. And so I choose those 4 habits from my overall arching goals. So if I know that I want to get, workouts in, so I will make that priority that week. Get 4 workouts in. If I know I want to track my food, then I will put that as a habit. And I focus week to week because every week is different. Some weeks I'll have a lot of things going on where I would be like, you know what, it would make more sense to just focus on journaling or just focus on these. So I only focus on a small amount of goals, and I try to habit stack my goals, meaning if I have this one habit of I want to do walks daily, then I will also bundle it together with listening to podcasts. So I know James Clear calls this temptation bundling. Do the thing that you love with the thing that you don't desire as much, and it's more likely for you to show up. And so that was super helpful for me, just really focusing on the week to week instead of focusing on the month ahead or the long-term goal was really helpful. Focusing on just achievable small habits, going from almost like thinking about the first step of what requires you to show up to a workout. I realized that workout classes was too much resistance, so started at home workouts. And then I realized, oh my gosh, what a drag to get ready, put my workout clothes. So I decided to put my workout clothes in the space where I was going to work out, which is my home office. And I would leave my shoes here. I would leave my workout clothes here. And I just have a bin of workout clothes. And that way I can just always just pick something up. Now, on the days where I didn't want to show up, but I still showed up because I knew regardless if I can only do 5 minutes of it, 10 minutes of it, it's okay. I'm still showing up. I'm wanting to create the habit. The goal is very different, but the habit is showing up. What I did, sometimes I would either wear like my leggings or something to sleep, or even if I had just like my pajama pants, sometimes I would just work out on my pajama pants. And I know that's not for everybody, but that's what I would do. I would literally just get up. And sometimes I do that too, like I feel like I still do that, where if I just don't want to show up because I just don't want to get ready, then I'm like, well, just put on your sports bra and just work out with whatever shorts you have or whatever PJs you have on. Run the risk of, tearing it, but it's okay. So it's one of those things. It's like finding the resistance for yourself. Like, what holds you back from the habit of getting to work out? Is it getting dressed in the morning? Is it time? What is that exactly holding you back from actually accomplishing it? Now, I did the same thing with food. I don't restrict myself. I allow myself to have what I want. But what I did what really helped me was incorporating new foods in small paces. So I didn't like vegetables. I'm not a vegetable girl, but I started incorporating like spinach on my eggs or spinach on my pasta sauce, things like that. Like started adding more veggies in things that I already ate. I knew I love Italian food, so I know I love pasta, but I know that it would make me bloated. Like just the white pasta would make me bloated and it just wouldn't make me feel good. So I ended up changing to chickpea pasta. Like it was those small little changes that over time created a impact on my body and how I felt about it. And I just felt good. I also realized that when I worked out, I would journal how I would feel. And I realized that when I would work out, I felt better. So I associate that as like the reward for working out is feeling better. But that didn't come until after I started working out consistently, because at first I had to change the mindset of like workouts feel like punishment, and workouts felt like punishment because I thought they had to be a specific time, a specific time frame, like 45 minutes. I had to sweat. I had to be jumping up and down, doing HIIT workouts, doing burpees. And I had to change that. So I hope that you understand that it's about really changing how you view exercise and your movement, to finding the movement that works for you. You don't have to do a boxing class or again a HIIT workout class if you do not enjoy it. And I didn't enjoy those kinds of things. So do things that really do work for you. I love functional strength training. It makes me feel strong. It makes me feel great about myself. I do like cardio from time to time, but I know that with cardio, it's like 30 minutes would be my max. 45-minute cardio workouts, I'm like dying. And it isn't about like not being able to push myself to my limits. It's about where I'm at right now. And I feel like once I feel good about those 30 minutes, then I can start increasing the time. And that's what I did. I exactly did that. Like, so instead of focusing on only doing like 30-minute workouts, I then started finding programs that had 45-minute workouts, because I had already grown the habit to show up 30 minutes. And so 45 minutes was just an additional 15, right? Tricking my brain to do this. And overall, this took me, 2022 is when I started kind of doing all these small little habits, like really prioritizing it, to now feeling like, now I can change more of, working out more movement, incorporating more foods, but it was a gradual, slow and steady, because I wanted it to be sustainable. And because of that, I did lose 10 pounds in 2022, which was major for me. And I've been able to not gain weight, maintain my weight, because my habits are there and I keep showing up and being consistent. And on the weeks where I wouldn't show up or be consistent, on my period weeks, I wouldn't show up sometimes because I was just like dying. I ended up just giving myself grace that not to work out on my periods. But then I realized that not working out didn't really serve me. So then I said, okay, well, what if you just work out twice a week? And that really helped. And I modified the workouts on my period week. So it would just be, the movement would be just walking or stretching or abs where I'm on the floor. Like those kinds of things were very helpful. So again, choose what works for you. As far as like setbacks and stuff, there's still days when I don't feel like working out. And like I said, I have those strategies of like, how can I negotiate with myself to still get to the workout. And I also remind myself that progress is not a straight line, and that's okay. It's not always going to be straight, and I wouldn't want it that way, because I think it would feel too much for me to be perfectly always working out, always, eating healthy, always choosing to do the healthy thing is not always possible, because life happens and stress happens. And so tools that I use for fitness, again, when I said Beachbody for some of my workouts, I've used YouTube videos for some of my workouts. The book No Sweat was really helpful. I do track my calories, but not in a way that's restrictive. I'm like, oh my gosh, why did you eat that much? No, it's more so that I'm aware of like, what am I eating? And if I did eat something that day that I'm like, maybe McDonald's wasn't the healthiest thing, I ask myself, why did my body crave that? What was going on? Was I stressed about something or anxious about something that triggered me to want that? Or was it just something that I was genuinely wanting? It had nothing to do with any outside trigger. Because I think that's super important too. Why are we eating what we're eating? Not again to punish ourselves, but more to understand the behaviors. If our behavior is eating something bad or unhealthy, why is it there? What are we challenged with, right? Because then that means it's not about changing the food, it's about changing what the stressor, right? Identifying the stressor and identifying ways to reduce the stressor, because the way that we're choosing to reduce the stressor is the habit of maybe eating McDonald's, So again, that's just how I change it. And that's how I talk to my clients about it, challenging their behaviors, understanding where the stressors and the triggers are that are making them, want to do that unhealthy habit. And I am like planning to eventually get someone to customize my workouts, and I'm excited to do that. I'm looking at like 2 programs, like 2 apps. One of them is called Copilot and the other one's called Future. I still haven't decided which one I want to do, so I'm still kind of using the Beachbody workouts for now. And as far as mental health, I feel like I've been talking about mental health, but prioritizing my mental well-being has been just so as important as my physical health. I've learned that taking care of my mental health is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Our mental health, like I said, our mind will quit before our body does, and so we have to exercise our mind. We have to take care of our mind, and that looks like changing the way we talk about ourselves, using compassion to talk about ourselves. If you struggle with this, I highly recommend Self-Compassion by Kristen Neff, or going to her website. She has a lot of exercises to help you with self-criticism. It is such a hard thing to break. And again, prioritizing my mental health too, it was finding my perfectionist thinking. So I'm a perfectionist by nature, recovering perfectionist. And I had to learn how to challenge that. So I've gone to therapy to challenge that. I'm a therapist myself and I know the tools, but it's always hard to put them into practice for yourself. So you need someone else too. And I think the biggest thing is like finding the right therapist that I need at the time. I myself am as like a tough love therapist where I love to give direct feedback, but I can always spin the other wheel where I can be very compassionate and can be, can meet you where you're at. So what I needed from a therapist is I really needed a compassionate human, because even though sometimes I feel like a tough bitch, sometimes I'm a sensitive bitch and I get on those and get in my feelings, and I need someone to just be there and listen to some of the tragedies that I make up in my head. And so it's really helpful to have someone to be able to talk through these things. I think we think of therapy as something that you only have to go to unpack childhood trauma, but it's more than that. You can go there with the goal of changing the mindset on goal setting and fitness and, prioritizing your mental health. And that's part of my self-care. What's helped me too is practicing mindfulness and gratitude. Often my anxiety would make me want to think about the future and what I have to do next, what I should be doing. And I just changed the shift. And also, even when I write my to-do list, I don't write it as I need to do this. I say I get to do this. I get to get up in the morning and record a YouTube video. I get to show up for my clients. I get to work out. I get to journal. Those are things that I choose to do. It's not something that I have to do. It's I choose it because I know that it helps me overall. So those are some tools that I like to do. And there's 2 ways that I like to cope and help with reducing stress and anxiety. One is being able to identify what I've been avoiding. I'm an avoidance person by nature. I like to avoid conflict. That was one of the things that I've had to learn. And so I learned it by facing it, by writing down what I've been avoiding and choosing once a month what are the things that I want to tackle. I've ended friendships because they weren't helpful for me. I've changed expectations that I have for people because it was going to serve me more in the long run. And that took with really identifying what I like to call my automatic negative thoughts. ANTS is the acronym. Changing my auto negative thoughts, looking at the realistic thoughts that I could shift it to, changing the way I speak to myself. Those are all things that my therapist has helped me, and as a therapist I have learned as well as tools to help me cope with stress. Now for me, I no longer overcommit. I make sure that I have a set of boundary to look at my calendar before I say yes to anything. I don't do things for free. I've done so many things to help my community. I have this free content for YouTube, and if people want to work with me, I value what I have to give to the world, and that means I am going to ask for my worth, what I'm worth in terms of the expertise. My worthiness cannot be bought, but the value that I give through my knowledge and expertise, it's important to have an exchange for your value in the knowledge that you have. If you're a business owner or anything like that, or someone's asking for help on something, you can always say, hey, I would love to help you with this. this is what I would need. So those are the shifts that I've had to do, really allowing myself to challenge myself, my thinking. Another thing, like another practical thing, I have this playlist on Spotify called Morning Hype Club. And when I am stressed or anxious about something, or I'm anticipating something like an appointment, I will just put on this playlist, put on my AirPods, and I will just dance it out a little bit. Because sometimes it's just like I need movement, I need endorphins, I need something, I need to change. If I'm just stuck overthinking and ruminating, I need something to change that. I need a different set of mood to change that, and dancing has always been something that helped me. So get yourself a playlist, like your serotonin playlist, whatever you want to call it. Mine's Morning Hype Club. It's usually when I would do it in the mornings to help me hype me up for the day, but I always use it at any point. And yeah, and another thing, I am going to link down below the questions on how to challenge your perfectionist thinking. If you're a perfectionist like me, you will find this so helpful, because I talk about all of like the things that cause our like how perfectionist thinking does affect just the way we say things and what questions do we need to ask ourselves to challenge ourselves. So I think it's going to be very helpful for you. But overall, I talked about some tangible things. I've talked about how I reduce stress and anxiety, but overall the key to prioritizing is making it part of your routine through small gradual habits, and make it make sense for your lifestyle. If it's someone else's lifestyle that you're trying to get. Here's the thing with YouTube, like I've seen women or people here do morning routines and things like that. I don't want you to think that that's what you have to do. I want you to take it as inspiration and see what works for you and your life and the roles that you hold in your life. And so if you want to continue prioritizing your fitness, your mental health, go through this journey with me. I'm actually doing the 12-week year, where one of my goals is to lose 8 pounds in 12 weeks. And I'm excited about it because I feel like I'm doing it in such a sustainable, healthy way. And so if you want to continue talk about those things and see how I'm doing with that, then definitely consider subscribing to the channel. I hope this was helpful, and I can't wait to see you in my next video.